Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the History of Professional Wrestling. I am your host, Joe Monroe. Today, we're actually going to do something just a little bit special. As you can tell, it's the holiday season. Yeah, it's Christmas time. But what you may not know is how important this holiday was for the territorial era. That's right, believe it or not, shows happen on Christmas Day. Why, you may ask? Well, let's go ahead and let's take a look into that, shall we? Most families, Christmas night was the quiet part of the holiday. The gifts had been opened, dinner had settled in, and the house was slowly returning to normal. But for decades, professional wrestling turned Christmas night into something entirely different. In towns across the United States, arenas filled with families who bundled up, piled into cars, and made more than one trip out together before the holiday ended. Wrestling on Christmas night wasn't an accident. It wasn't a gimmick. It was one of the smartest business decisions promoters ever made. And for many fans, it became a tradition just as important as the holiday itself. To understand why Christmas night mattered so much, you have to understand the territorial era, when wrestling didn't survive on television contracts or guaranteed money. Wrestling survived on people showing up and simply buying tickets. Christmas night, more than almost any other date on the calendar, guaranteed that they would. In the territorial days, promoters studied calendars the way modern companies study ratings and reporting. Every decision was about maximizing the audience. Christmas night was perfect because it combined availability, emotion, and habit. Factories were closed, offices were shut down, and families were already together. After hours of sitting at home, people wanted to go out. And wrestling offered something familiar, affordable, and exciting. Unlike modern entertainment, there were a few alternatives. Movie theaters didn't dominate the holiday schedule the way they do now. I'm one of those ones who guiltily goes to the movie theater on Christmas Day. There was no streaming, no video games, sadly, that were pulling people in different directions. Professional wrestling wasn't competing with dozens of options. In many towns, it was the biggest show in said town. Promoters also understood psychology. Christmas was emotional, still is today. It was good versus evil, reward and punishment. And at the end of the day, everybody's happy and, dare I say, merry. Wrestling was built on those same ideas. A heroic babyface finally overcoming a hated villain on Christmas night felt just right. Fans left the building satisfied, believing the holiday had delivered exactly what is promised. And some people may say it was a Christmas miracle. Let's look into how the different territories that we have talked about the past few weeks handled Christmas. In Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, Christmas night cards were treated as prestige events. Jim Crockett Promotions didn't waste the date on throwaway matches. No. Instead, Christmas shows were loaded with title bouts and feud-ending stipulations. Greensboro, Charlotte, and Richmond regularly saw packed houses filled with families who had been attending wrestling together for generations. The Crockett philosophy was simple. If you trained fans to believe Christmas night was important, they would show up every year. World title matches were often reserved for late December. Cage matches, designed to provide finality, were common. Promoters knew fans didn't want loose ends on Christmas. They wanted resolution. For children, these shows became lifelong memories. Many older fans still recall their first live wrestling show happening on Christmas night. Sitting beside parents or grandparents that have been coming for years. This generational connection helped keep Mid-Atlantic strong for decades. Mid-Atlantic presented Christmas wrestling as tradition. Memphis presented it as catharsis. Memphis wrestling thrived on emotion, and since it was Christmas time, that emotion was stronger than ever, especially on Christmas night at the Mid-South Coliseum. Jerry Jarrett understood that Memphis fans didn't just want wrestling, they wanted payback. Christmas cards were often built around personal grudges that had been simmering for months and months on end. Hair versus hair matches, loser leaves town stipulations, and brutal no disqualification fights were common. These weren't random choices. They were carefully planned conclusions to a long run storyline. The crowds reflect that intensity. Memphis Christmas crowds, as well as any other time of year, were loud, unforgiving, and deeply invested. People screamed themselves hoarse because these matches mattered to them. Wrestling on Christmas night in Memphis wasn't background entertainment, it was the emotional release of the entire year. In Dallas, however, Christmas wrestling at the Sportatorium carried a little bit of a different energy. World Class Championship Wrestling leaned heavily into family storytelling, especially with the Von Erichs, as we learned from the History of Pro Wrestling video, because they were, the center of every storyline. Christmas shows often revolved around the idea of justice being served. The Von Erichs were presented as hometown heroes, and Christmas night was the perfect time to reward the loyal fans. The Sportatorium, it wasn't glamorous, but it was personal. Fans felt connected to the wrestling in a way that was rare even in the territorial era. Christmas night crowds were packed shoulder to shoulder, creating an atmosphere that felt intimate and intense at the same time. For many Texas families, wrestling on Christmas wasn't a break from the holiday, it was a part of it. Let's switch gears down to Florida. In Florida, Eddie Graham treated Christmas night as something almost ceremonial. Championship Wrestling from Florida emphasized athleticism, respect, and long-term storytelling. Christmas cards often featured strong babyface champions defending titles and matches designed to feel meaningful rather than chaotic. Florida fans trusted Eddie Graham. If he put a match on a Christmas card, they believed it would 100% deliver. Wrestlers like Dusty Rhodes, Jack Briscoe, and the Funk Brothers became part of that trust. Christmas night wasn't just about the match. It was about feeling connected to the product. While fans celebrated, wrestlers ended up, of course, working that night. Christmas night meant long drives, missed dinners, and sometimes sleeping in cars. Many performers have spoken about eating cold meals at truck stops while families celebrated without them. Yet, most wrestlers didn't resent it. Christmas crowds were very special. The buildings were full. The reactions were louder than ever. And the payoffs was a little bit bigger. Wrestlers knew when they walked through the curtain on Christmas night, the audience was 100% ready to engage and be a part of the show. You're probably asking yourself right now, Joe, if it was so great, why did they stop? As wrestling went national, the importance of the gate started to fade away. Television money replaced ticket sales. Guaranteed contracts replaced nightly payoffs. Christmas night no longer needed to carry the business. But that special memory or memories that people carry with their families remains to this day. There was a time when Christmas night wasn't quiet. It was loud. It was emotional and filled with sound of a bell ringing in a packed arena. And for those who were there, Christmas night wrestling will always be something very special and near and dear to them. And this has been the History of Professional Wrestling Christmas special. I hope you all have a happy holidays and a very, very Merry Christmas. This will be the last episode of 2025, and I gotta tell you, we got a lot in store for 2026. If you want to support the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And also, if you really want to support the channel and you are becoming a fan, which if you are, thank you so much, go check out our Redbubble store. We have a lot of things from stickers to t-shirts. It really means a lot to the channel, and it honestly helps this channel survive. So again, thank you all so much for your love and support this year, and I'll see you all next year. Take care, everybody.